Hello and welcome once again. This is Dr. Ayemo. Today I'll be speaking on two cancer bullets. You see, in my practice, which is about 10 years now, one of the most excruciating medical conditions I've come across is cancer. Cancer drains the body physically, drains the pocket financially, drains the mind emotionally and physically. Not just only the person who is sick, but also the family members. So if there is anything one can do to prevent cancer, it is a worthwhile thing. Today, just briefly, I want to talk about things you can do to prevent cancer. One of the first bullets that cancer shoots at persons is family. What do I mean by that? Family history or past family situations, circumstances of health, especially as it relates to cancer, is one of the major factors that one puts into consideration for the possibility of another person developing cancer. In other words, if a family member has developed cancer, then there is a higher tendency for other family members who are blood relations to also develop it. I know a woman who had cancer at 54. The daughter, who is 21, had cancer. And I know another one whose child was just 28 when she developed cancer. And I know another one who is just 33, a daughter of another woman who had cancer that developed it. I know a family of 3 men. The 3 of them developed colon cancer. The reason is because cancer tends to result from errors in our genetic makeup. And this genetic makeup tends to be shared by blood relations. So that's why family history or family connection is one of the major factors why people develop cancer. But even if there is a family history, there are steps one could take to still prevent cancer from developing. Because in medicine, there is something we call epigenetics, EPI, then genetics. It means environmental influences over our genetic makeup. There are ways we can live our lives that will help us to influence how our gene function. And that takes me to the second bullet, which is lifestyle. And when I'm talking about lifestyle, I'm referring to 3 major areas of our lives. Number 1 is what we eat. Number 2 is the kind of activities we engage in, especially exercise. And number 3 is health-seeking behavior. Now to number 1, which is our diet. You see, what we eat is quite important because it forms the fabrics of our body. I've mentioned that before, and it's so important. If you eat poor quality food, then you're going to develop poor quality life, and then the tendency of developing sicknesses become high. And if you eat good food, then your body will be built up with structures that are good, and then the risk of developing sicknesses, especially cancer, will be less. That's number 1. Number 2 is that when you eat excessively and you become overweight, then unnecessary cells in the body that develop as a result of this excess weight can begin to cause problems. When somebody is obese, for example, is at increased risk of developing cancers of the colon, cancer of the breast, and so many other parts of the body. So it's important we watch our diet and we eat in moderation. If you eat quality food with in quantity that are moderate on daily basis, then that will help you to prevent a lot of diseases, including cancer as well. The second aspect is exercise. Physical activity, exercising on daily basis, helps us to burn excess fat, and it also helps us to maintain our shape, makes our internal organs to function appropriately. So these things help us to keep in shape and also prevent development of sicknesses and diseases, especially cancer as well. And number 3 is health-seeking behavior. You see, in majority of cases before cancer, many of the cancers developed the process will have begun in the body for as much as 7 to 10 years in many cases. Yes. So it takes a very long time for cancers to develop. That's why it's important for us to report to the hospital when we notice any abnormality in our body system. For example, when someone has become sexually active, is supposed to go for what they call pap smear, because that test will help us to detect in time if there is the risk of developing cervical cancer. The same thing with monthly breast self-examination. Once an abnormality is detected and you quickly report to the hospital, steps can be taken to institute treatment that can prevent the cancer from developing. And one of the major problems we've had in this part of the world is that people come to the hospital for treatment of cancer when the cancer has become worse. The situation has gone so bad. Okay, there are usually 4 stages in cancer: stage 1, 2, 3 and 4. Stage 1 and 2 is the earlier stage, and then the early stage, and then stage 3 and 4 is the advanced stage. Majority of times, then people present to the hospital when the situation has gone so bad. And you see, it's so amazing that even people who are educated even still fall victim of this. You see people who are highly placed, middle class, well-exposed persons, and they will still not present to the hospital. So it's health-seeking behavior is quite important. If you notice any abnormality, present to the hospital on time. So number 1 bullet is family history, but if you can counter the first bullet by adjusting your lifestyle, which is the second bullet, and then risky lifestyle, that's part of our lifestyle. Risky lifestyle such as drinking alcohol excessively, smoking cigarettes, smoking shisha, smoking weed, and all sorts of things will increase cancer. Okay, and then uncontrolled appetite will also increase cancer. Risky sexual lifestyle, exposure to hepatitis infection, and so on and so forth like that will also increase the possibility of developing cancer. So as we go this week, I want you to take necessary steps to prevent cancer. If you have family history, ensure that you constantly seek for medical attention, because these are the things that can help you to identify it early and then take necessary measures to prevent it from getting worse. Have a beautiful week. See you again next week.